सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om. So we are in this wonderful topic of brahmātmanā samsthitihi. How to be establish ourselves in the knowledge of I am Brahman. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, now we are into that final stages, right, of Samadhi Abhyasa. And in that also, the section that we have been seeing from verses 277 is where Bhagavan Shri Adi Shankaracharya ji, the author, the Guru, is telling us to remove Adhyasa, this superimposition that we have got, that I am this body, mind, intellect, this upadhi is me. This kind of superimposition that we have put ourselves into, remove that. Swa-adhyasa apanayam kuru, remove that. That is the section that we are seeing, and we saw in the last session some of the verses which again and again bring to our notice that what we are supposed to do. Anādāna visargābhyām īṣannāsti kriya munehe, 282. There is no action required for the jnani to get something, to accept something, or to give up or reject something. That jnani doesn't initiate into any action. Tad ekanishthaya nityam swa-adhyasa apanayam kuru. And therefore, just as this jnani is actionless, Brahman is also actionless. And that's why jnani is actionless. Now, what as sadhaka we have to do? We have to have ekanishtha, single pointed abidance in that tat. Tat means that Brahman. In that Brahman, have that single pointed abidance and remove the superimposition. Diligently remove the superimposition on the self. So, adhyasa apanayam kuru. How? Tatvamasyādi vakya uttha brahma atmaikatva bodhataha. Through the bodha, through the knowledge of Brahma Atma Ekatva, the knowledge of oneness of Brahman and Atman, the supreme reality and the self. Where is this knowledge? Tattvamasi Adi Vakya Uttha. That knowledge which is expounded, brought out in the statements such as Tattvamasi, such as Mahavakyas. All these are Mahavakyas. In those Mahavakyas, the knowledge of oneness of Brahman and Atman which is given, from that or through that knowledge, Brahmani Atmatva Dardhyaya. Beautiful word, Dardhya. Dardhya means to make it strong. Dridhata. That is Dardhya. Dardhyaya, for strengthening. For strengthening what? Atmatva. For strengthening the selfhood. Where? Brahmani, in that Brahman. To strengthen the understanding, feeling, that I am Brahman, sva-adhyasa apanayam kuru. For that purpose, negate or remove the superimposition. Right? Aham bhavasya dehesmin nishesha vilayavadi. Till when should I do that? Shankaracharya says, asmin dehe, in this body, in this gross body, subtle body, etc. Aham bhavasya nishesha vilaya avadhi. Avadhi, till this time. Till what time? Till the time that the feeling of I in this body is not totally removed. Nishesha. Without any remainder. Totally that feeling should be there. No, Veji, almost I have given up this feeling. No, almost also is not sufficient. Shankaracharya says, till the time it is totally given up, savadānena. Be very attentive, vigilant. Yuktātma, be focused. Be one with that Atma bhava, be one with that Brahma bhava, and like that, so adhyasa apanayam kuru. Remove this superimposition. One more, not only till the time you give up the notion of I am this body totally, not only till that, but also in the world, what should be my experience? Pratitir jiva jagatoho swapnavad bhati yavata. Jiva jagatoho pratitihi. The appearance, perception of jiva and jagat, individual and world. Yavata, as long as swapnavad bhati, even if like a dream you are seeing it, still don't stop. Means what? Veji, after all the knowledge and churning, etc., now even when I am working, I feel that this is like a dream. I am experiencing the world. I see that there is a tea, very nice, interesting and very hot tea is there, but I look at it as dream. Even then, don't stop. Why? Because you should not even look at the world as a dream. Then what? You should look at the world as Brahman. That's it. So even as an appearance, if the world is there, like a dream, even then don't stop. Keep removing it. Nirantaram. Tavat nirantaram vidvan. Oh vidvan, oh wise person, even that dream-like feeling for the world or individual should be removed. Till that time, so adhyasa apanayam kuru. Remove this superimposition. Don't waste a moment for this. Nidrayaha, lokavartayaha, shabdāderapi vismrutehe, क्वचिन्नावसरं दत्वा चिन्तय आत्मानम् आत्मनि. Atmanam atmani chintaya. You reflect, meditate upon the self, in your heart, in your mind, within yourself, reflect on that self. And how? Don't give any time, any opportunity, any chance. For what? Nidrayaha, for the sleep, unawareness. Don't give time for that. Lokavartayaha, for worldly talk. How are you? What is latest news? Even that not required. Shabdadehe, for the shabda adi, for the objects, etc., sense objects. Api vismrutehe, even for forgetfulness, that I am Brahman, this is forgotten. No, don't give chance to any of these. Means what? Don't sleep or don't slip from your path. Both sleep and slip, both can be taken for this meaning. Don't slip away from your path, or don't sleep and waste your time. Don't waste time in talking about the world. Don't go run behind the outside objects, and don't forget who you are. For any of these, don't waste any time. Kvachit avasaram na dattva. Even one chance you don't give for all these things to take your mind away from Brahman. Like that, Atmanam Atmani Chintaya. Reflect on the self within yourself. Mata pitroho malodbhutam malamamsamayam vapuhu. This body is how? This body is malamamsamayam. It's filled with impurity and mamsa flesh. That is what is this body, from where it has come. Mata pitroho mala udbhutam, born from the impurities of mother and father. The things that they have rejected from the body, that's what has made your body. Tyaktva, give up this notion of I in this body. Chandalavat duram tyaktva. Don't even keep it close that, okay, I have given it up, but it is there. No, leave it far. Like what? Like Chandala, like the outcast is kept away from the society. The society keeps outcast outside the village. They don't even say that, okay, you stay in the village, but we will not talk to you. No, throw them out. That's what they used to do. That's what you should do. What? For Chandala? No. For the notion of the self in the body. Don't worry about the Chandala. Worry about this feeling that I am the body. That feeling, keep it far. Brahmāṇḍamapi kriti bhava. And thus becoming Brahman, become fulfilled. Kriti bhava, kṛtakṛtyo bhava. In this we had seen, mind, what is the main point that Bhagavan Shri Adi Shankaracharya is telling again and again, is that don't give anything else to the mind. Make sure that your mind is hooked on to that Brahman. Because only when it is hooked on to that Brahman, it will give up world. You remember all that story, etc. we had seen in the last session. That ghost, give me work or I will eat you. That is that mind. What you have to do? To give it work continuously. Keep on reflecting, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Then when you want, you take that mind, use it for something related to it and then send it back. Again do. That is what we have to do. That's what he says here. And in the last verse that we had seen in the last session, Ghatākāśam mahākāśe iva ātmānam parātmani vilāpya akhanda bhavena tuṣṇī bhava sada mune. Hey Mune, oh reflective one, now what you should do? Mahākāśe Ghatākāśam iva, like the pot space in the total space. Vilāpya, merges. Having merged the pot space into total space, like that, iva, in the same way, Atmanam Paratmani Vilapya. Merge the individual self in the total self, in the supreme self. Akhanda bhavena, as one whole consciousness, tuṣṇīṃ bhava, just be, sada, always, just be. Here we had seen that merging is not literal merging, like you add water, lemon into water, merge. No, not that kind of merging. It's not even one kind of water added into another kind of water, or not even like that. It is to understand that there is no individuality, there is only the supreme self. Right? This is called as avachedavada. This example of conditioned space. Avacheda means conditioned. So space is everywhere. Inside a hall, a room, the space which we feel that there is space inside the room and there is space outside the room, and therefore we feel that the room is the space is conditioned by the room, and then we say this is a room space. In the same way, inside a pot there is a smaller space which we call as pot space. But actually space is not small or big or anything. Space is space. This conditioning is only relative. It's not real. It is unreal conditioning. Right? But when that conditioning is gone, when the upadhi is gone, matha is gone, ghata is gone, then what happens? Then the Ghatākāśa, pot space, merges with the overall space. The room space merges with the overall space. In this way, make sure that you understand very clearly that the conditioned ego, the jiva, individual ego, is only apparent, created by this apparent conditioning called BMI. This upadhi of body, mind, intellect, which is unreal, has created some kind of feeling that I am this jiva. And therefore, give up the identification with BMI and realize your real nature as that supreme self. And then what? After realizing, what should I do? Don't do anything. Tushnim bhava. Just be. Just remain there. Why? Nothing is to be done. You have done everything that is to be done, you have done. Right? After you reach the peak of the mountain, then what you should do? Just be. Why? No more walking. No more panting. Nothing. Everything is done now. Just be. That pole vault example, you remember Gurudev always used to give. You put that pole and then put all your pressure and everything that you have learned so far in that angle, you throw your body, and the moment you cross that bar, then what? Just be. You must have seen the pole vaulter, how they run and they measure each and every step and where that stick should go and how they lift themselves and how they cross. Exactly the bar will be here like that, they will cross so close to the bar but without touching the bar. But after that, what they do? After crossing the bar? Nothing. Just be. Right? Tushnim bhava. Just be. That is what we have seen so far. Now, 4 more verses are there in the same topic. Let us see what Shankaracharya is saying. Verse number 289. Svaprakāśamadhiṣṭhānaṃ svayaṃbhūya sadātmanā brahmāṇḍamapi piṇḍāṇḍaṃ tyajyatāṃ malabhāṇḍavat svaprakāśamadhiṣṭhānaṃ svayaṃbhūya sadātmanā brahmāṇḍamapi piṇḍāṇḍaṃ tyajyatāṃ malabhāṇḍavat. What is he saying now? Svaprakāśam, self-luminous, doesn't need any other light. Adhiṣṭhānaṃ, substratum. Svayambhūya, oneself becoming this, oneself understanding that who am I? I am svaprakāśa, I am that self-luminous consciousness. Adhiṣṭhān, the substratum of the entire universe. That's what I am. Sadātmanā as that supreme self, as the self, always considering, understanding that I am this. Brahmāṇḍamapi piṇḍāṇḍaṃ tyajyatāṃ. Give up piṇḍāṇḍa also and brahmāṇḍa also. Now, what is this brahmāṇḍa and piṇḍāṇḍa? Nothing. What we have seen, that only is explained in the different terms. Piṇḍāṇḍa means individuality. Brahmāṇḍa means totality. So far we have used the words vyashti and samashti. Correct? Vyashti individual, samashti total. Now that vyashti is called as piṇḍāṇḍa and samashti total is called as brahmāṇḍa. That's it. So give up the individuality also and give up the totality also. Means what? In the example of avachedavada which we are seeing in the previous verse, that's why I had added one more layer to it. See, in the verse, if you see, it only says ghatākāśam mahākāśe vilāpya. Correct? Merging the pot space into total space. Now imagine that there is a room filled with pots. Entire room has pots everywhere. Entire room is filled with pots. So storeroom for the potter. Okay. Now, in each pot, there is space. There is space. In the room also there is space. In that space only pots are kept. While transaction we may say, when you enter the room, oh, all pots are there, there is no space. What we mean is there is no space remaining for pots, but already there is space where pots are kept. Now, this room is the total upadhi and each pot is individual upadhi. Okay? So, pot space the space that we think is conditioned by pot, is like jiva, individual. And room space, the space that we think is conditioned by room, is like Ishvara, totality, consciousness associated with totality. And the overall space, that which is there even outside the room, is called total space, Mahākāsha. That is Brahman. Okay. So now what is said? Don't just give up identification with individual upadhi, but even reject the total upadhi. So it is not said that you understand that I am not the jiva, but I am Ishvara. No. The understanding has to be, I am neither the jiva nor Ishvara, I am Brahman. That's why it says here, brahmāṇḍamapi piṇḍāṇḍaṃ tyajyatāṃ, piṇḍāṇḍamapi tyajyatāṃ, brahmāṇḍamapi tyajyatāṃ. Give up the notion of I in the individual upadhi also and in the total upadhi also. And like what you should give up? Malabhāṇḍavat. Malabhāṇḍa means, bhanda means vessel. In Marathi also, no? Bhanda means glass. That is what is called. So bhanda means vessel. Malabhāṇḍavat, the vessel which is filled with impurity. Will you catch hold on it? Will you hold it and say that, okay, I will go wherever I will go, I will carry this? No, you throw it away. Many times you don't even want to touch that. You tell the servant, hey, go and pick that up and throw it somewhere. I don't even want to touch. Like that malabhāṇḍavat, piṇḍāṇḍaṃ brahmāṇḍamapi tyajyatāṃ. Give up the individuality also, give up the totality also, and realize that I am that supreme self alone. That is what has to. So microcosm, individuality, piṇḍāṇḍa. Macrocosm, totality, Brahmāṇḍa. Give up the microcosm also, macrocosm also. Give up both and realize your oneness with that supreme, which is the substratum for both microcosm as well as macrocosm. Is that okay? Let us go forward. Then what he says, verse number 290. Cidātmani sadānande dehārūḍhāmahaṃdhiyam niveśya liṅgamutsṛjya kevalo bhava sarvadā cidātmani sadānande dehārūḍhāmahaṃdhiyam niveśya liṅgamutsṛjya kevalo bhava sarvadā. Cidātmani, in the self which is chit, which is of the nature of consciousness. Sadānande, Sat Anande or Sada Anande. Sat Anande is better. In that existence bliss. So actually what is he saying? Cidātmani Sadānande means in that self which is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. In that supreme self, Deha Ārūḍhāṃ Ahamdhiyam niveśya. Ahamdhiyam, the notion of I, Dehārūḍhāṃ, which is right now in the body, niveśya, you shift that notion from the body in the supreme self. Remove the plug from that socket and put it in the final main socket. Just don't keep it there. Right now the notion of I is in the body. You remove that notion and put it in the self. Niveśya, shifting, placing. Placing that notion of I in the body, notion of I in the self by removing it from the body. So right now I feel I am the body. Remove that and put it in the self, where you will feel that I am that supreme self. Liṅgamutsṛjya. Give up the gross body, dehārūḍhāmahaṃdhiyam. Niveśya is done. Now liṅgamutsṛjya. Linga sharira is sometimes synonymously used for sukshma sharira, isn't it? Lingam. We have seen this word many times. Lingam. Lingam is that sukshma sharira, that subtle body. Liṅgamutsṛjya, discarding the subtle body. Kevalo bhava sarvadā. Sarvada, always. Kevalaha bhava. Become kevala. Kevala means one, alone. Kevala. Only that. Means what? The self which is bereft of all the concepts, all the three kinds of bodies, all the five sheaths, all the three states. The self which is bereft of, without all these things. In the technical sense, kevala word whenever we use in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, we always say kevala means what? Sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bheda, rahita. Earlier we have explained this concept. I am just recollecting it for your sake. Sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bheda, rahita. Kevala, the self is kevala means what? It is without any kind of distinction. Sajatiya, between the two same species. Vijatiya, between two different species. Svagata, within the same object. There are different kinds of differences are there, distinctions are there. But kevala means what? Without any of these. Rahita. Sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bheda, rahita. Kevala. Or sometimes it will be explained as desha, kala, vastu, aparichinna. That which is aparichinna, not limited. Not limited by what? By space, time and object. This is also not a new concept for you. We have seen this earlier. The self is kevala means what? It is unlimited. Unlimited in space, unlimited in time, unlimited in object. Not limited by anything. That self you remain as. Kevalaha bhava sarvada. Ever become that self. Ever become means what? Realize that I am always that self. So now the notion of I is in the body, and therefore obviously there will be sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bheda. It will be limited by space, time and object because it is body. Same way mind also. If I think I am the mind, it has got limitations. It has got distinctions. But remove this notion of I in the body and mind and put this notion in the Supreme Self, which is without any distinction, without any limitation. Sajatiya, vijatiya, svagata, bheda, rahita, desha, kala, vastu, aparichinna. That kevala, that is the self. That I am. Remain as that self. Take the side of the self and give up the not self. I am not BMI. I am the Supreme Self. Remain in that. Then what will happen? Next verse, verse number 291. Yatraiṣa jagadābhāsah darpaṇāntaḥ puraṃ yathā tadbrahmāhamiti jñātvā kṛtakṛtyo bhaviṣyasi. Yatraiṣa jagadābhāsah darpaṇāntaḥ puraṃ yathā tadbrahmāhamiti jñātvā kṛtakṛtyo bhaviṣyasi. Yatra, where, eshaha, this, jagadābhāsah. Jagadābhasa, abhasa means appearance. Jagat of the world. Jagataha abhasaha, jagadābhasa. Where there is appearance of the world. Where, just as darpaṇāntaḥ puraṃ. Darpaṇāntaḥ Darpana means mirror. Antaha means inside. Darpaṇāntaḥ, inside the mirror or in the mirror, puraṃ, there is a city. There is city in the mirror. What? There is city in the mirror? We never knew. This actually Shankaracharya ji is pointing out towards very, very beautiful verse from Dakshinamurti Stotram. Dakshinamurti Stotram, authored by Shankaracharya ji himself. The very first verse of Dakshinamurti Stotram is this. Vishvam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam pashyannātmani māyaya bahirivodbhūtam yathā nidraya yat sakshat kurute prabodha samaye svātmanamevādvayam tasmai shri gurumurtaye namaidam shri dakshinamurtaye. Prostrations unto that Dakshinamurti, that Guru. Who is that? Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam. Where the entire world, darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam, is like the city seen inside the mirror. The whole world is like the city in the mirror. What is this city in the mirror? You see, imagine that old times, okay, where there is a huge palace and there is a city around that palace which is situated. And suppose there is a huge mirror. And you are looking in the mirror which is reflecting the entire city. So from far you can see the entire city in the mirror. Is that city real? That city is merely appearing in the mirror. He says, Shankaracharya says, in the same way, the world is not even like a city. World is like a city in the mirror. It is not even that much reality is also not there. Darpana drishyamana nagari tulya. That's what he says here also. Jagadābhāso darpaṇāntaḥ puraṃ yathā puraṃ. Just like a city is seen in the mirror, the world is also appearing just like that. It has not even little bit of reality. But we see it outside, isn't it? So there, beautiful explanation is there. What is he saying in that verse is that actually Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam. It is actually within me. Darpana is that of the mind, or that Brahman is the darpana, is that substratum. This entire world is there in me, but I project it outside. And I experience it outside. It is not outside, it is inside me. The whole world is inside me, but I consider it outside. Pashyannātmani māyaya bahihi udbhūtam. It is appearing outside because of Maya. Iva udbhūtam. It is, so to say, born outside, or it is, so to say, seen outside. Yathā nidraya. Like in dream. Like in dream what? The entire dream is happening within your mind, but it looks like you are experiencing the dream world as though it is outside. Isn't it? Veji, I today, so nice dream I got. Okay, acha, what was the dream? I was in Disneyland. You were in Disneyland in the dream? Now what is happening? That Disneyland is inside your mind, which is projected outside in the dream, and as though you have entered into the Disneyland. Isn't it? You have not actually gone to Disneyland. The Disneyland is in the mind, which is projected outside, and then you feel that I am entering into Disneyland. In the same way, the entire world is inside. We project it outside wrongly. But inside also, is it real? No, even inside it is not real. See, that Disneyland which is there in your mind is also not real Disneyland. It's not real. Neither when it was inside nor when it appeared outside. In both cases, it was not real. In the same way, yatraiṣa jagadābhāso, this appearance of the world, darpaṇāntaḥ, inside a mirror, yathā puraṃ, just like a city, tadbrahmāhamiti jñātvā. The world that appears is not real. The city that appears is not real, but the substratum is real. That Brahman, that Darpana, that Brahman is that Darpana. Here the mirror is compared with the Supreme Brahman. That is the reality. That is the substratum. Tat Brahma, and that substratum, aham, that is me. Not the world, not the appearance, not some part of the world, but I am the substratum, the only real substratum of the unreal world. That real substratum I am. Tat Brahma aham iti jñātvā, realizing this, knowing this, experiencing this directly, kṛtakṛtyo bhaviṣyasi, you will become fulfilled, content, kṛtakṛtyo. Right? Bhagavan Shri Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita says this, isn't it? This knowledge, one who knows, that person becomes kṛtakṛtya. Where does he say this? In 15th chapter of Gita, Purushottama Yoga, last verse. Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syat kṛtakṛtyasya bharata. You want to become buddhiman, Arjuna? Let me tell you. Iti guhyatamam shastram. This knowledge of Supreme Self which I have given you in this chapter is Shastra. Idamuktam maya nagha, that I have given to you. Etad buddhva, knowing this, buddhiman syat, one becomes truly intelligent, wise, kṛtakṛtya, and becomes fulfilled. Krityam kritam, that's what here also word is, kṛtakṛtya bhaviṣyasi. You will become kṛtakṛtya. Kṛtakṛtya means krityam kritam. That which is to be done, kritya kritam, is done. No more any job to be fulfilled. No more any task to be completed. No more any duty to be what we say, done. Nothing. Now everything what was to be done is done. Kṛtakṛtya bhaviṣyasi. You will become that. But for that what you have to do? Realize that I am not the appearing world. I am not even part of that world. I am the substratum of the world which is real. The entire world is like a city in the mirror. So not real. I am not that. I am that substratum Brahman. Right? Now, Shankaracharya ji concludes this topic with verse number 292. So the topic that started from 277 concludes here. Swa-adhyasapanayam kuru, that concept was there, no? Remove the superimposition. That is what he concludes. Let us read. Yatsatyabhūtaṃ nijarūpamādyaṃ cidātmani tadetyamithyāvapurutsrjeta shailushavadveshamupāttamaṭmanah yatsatyabhūtaṃ nijarūpamādyaṃ cidadvayanandamarupamakṛyam tadetyamityāvapurutsrjeta shailushavadveshamupāttamaṭmanah. Yat satyabhūtam, that which is satyabhūta, of the nature of sat, of the nature of satya, of the nature of reality, truth, existence, that which is of this nature. Nijarūpam, which is one's own self, which is not somewhere else, which is one's own self. Adyam, which is the first, the primordial. Adyam means which is there, the alone. Not first means that there is something that came afterwards. No, no. First is to say that it was there before everything, that which was there even before Maya and Ajnana. Nijarūpam, Adyam. Chit Advaya Anandam, that which is of the nature of consciousness, non-duality, bliss. Chit Advaya Anandam. Arupam, formless. Akriyam, actionless. That nature, yat, that which is of this nature, that self, tadetya. Etya, having reached. In dhatu, etya, having reached. Having reached that supreme self, which is of this nature, mithya vapuhu utsrajeta. You give up this mithya vapu. Mithya, false, unreal, vapu, body. This false body you have taken on yourself, utsrajeta, you give up. You give up this false body and become one, reach that supreme self. Like what? Example is given, Shailushavat. Shailusha is actor, like an actor. Actor, one who acts in a drama, movie, etc. Shailusha is actor. Shailushavat Vesham upattam atmanaha. Atmanaha upattam vesham. Atmanaha of oneself. Upattam, which is taken up, assumed. Vesham, costume or the character. Vesham. So you give up, just as an actor gives up the what we say, assumed costume. See, to play a particular role, he has taken up, he has worn a particular costume, done up one kind of makeup. But the moment that is over, he relinquishes, he gives all the costume and makeup away and then remains as the person. No more as that character, as the person. In the same way, you have assumed one identity, which is of this jiva, by considering body, mind, intellect to be yourself. Now give up this. This is not your true identity. This is a costume which you have taken. Production people will not allow you to take the costume home. Isn't it? In the same way, this God will not allow you to take this costume anywhere. Till the time prarabdha is there, this body is there. Then you have to give up this body. Isn't it? Now here what is said, before he takes your body away, you give the notion of I in this body. You give it up. Before the production guy catches you, you keep the costumes away, saying that I am done. I am done with this role, assumed role which I have been playing for a long time. Now let me go back to my nature. Give up this body, mind, intellect, notion of self in this, and realize that you are that supreme self of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss, which is non-dual, which is one's own nature, which is primeval, which is primordial, arupam, formless, akriyam, actionless. That nature, that self of that nature, I am, and not this body, mind, intellect. Do that. In this way, Shankaracharya concludes the topic. So you can easily see, for conclusion, he has changed the meter. So far, Anushtup was going on. Now he changed the meter just to indicate that the topic is over. Now, he takes up the next topic. The next topic is about this perceived individuality. Just now the example was given, no? That just as an actor has taken up a character, and at the end of it he has to give up all that makeup and costume and then realize one's true nature. Like that, what is this perceived individuality? What is this character that we are playing, and how to give it up? That is what is the next topic, that individual ego. Let us read verse number 293. Sarvatmanā drishyamidam rishaiva naivahamartha kshanikatva darshanāt. Janamyaham sarvamiti pratitihi. Kuto'hamādeḥ kshanikasya siddhyet. Sarvātmanā drishyamidam rishaiva naivahamartha kshanikatva darshanāt. Janamyaham sarvamiti pratitihi kuto'hamādeḥ kshanikasya siddhyet. 2 points he is making here. First point given in the first line. What is he saying? Sarvatmana. Sarvatmana here means by all means. Absolutely. What? Idam drishyam. This seen world. Drishyam. S-double-E seen. This world which is seen. This world. Mrisha is indeed mrisha. Mrisha, unreal, false. Na eva aham artha. And this I, aham, this individual, this perceived individuality which is there when you are living in this world, artha na evam, that also has no value. That is also absolutely false. So the world is totally false. The individuality is absolutely false. Why are you saying like this? How can you say like that? Kshanikatva darshanāt. Because it is darshana, it is seen kshanikatva, only momentarily. See, the world, the moment your eyes are open, there is world. The moment you close your eyes, the world is not there. You open your eyes, the world is there again. Isn't it? Its existence is only momentary existence. And that also is continuously changing. So is this I. See, this ego is also continuously changing. 50 minutes back when the class started, the individual was different. After 50 minutes, it has changed. Maybe the change is very minute. Fine, but there is change. Sometimes the change may be good, sometimes the change may be bad, but there is change. Something has changed. So the individual also, the jiva bhava also, the ego also, ahankara also is continuously changing. Its existence is very momentary. Then, if this individual ego, jiva is continuously changing, then he points out the second thing. What? Aham sarvam janami. I know everything. Iti pratitihi, this kind of understanding, this kind of feeling, this kind of expression, perception, kutaha siddhyeta. From where is this thought coming that I know everything? Why? Ahamadehe kshanikasya. For the jiva, aham bhava, for the jiva which is kshanika, which is momentary, how this ahankara suddenly gets a thought that I know everything? Arey, my dear, you are of momentary existence. How can you know everything? But you see, that's what happens to us. What is our age? See, in the total timeline of the universe, what is our age, you tell me? Nothing. Nothing. We say also 2022 is about to end. 2023 is about to begin. In that 2023, we are just calculating from the death of Jesus Christ. From there only we are calculating. Even there, how many years we have lived? 30, 40, 50, 60, chalo maximum 100, 120. Not more than that. No? In 2023 years, what is 120? Nothing. But still, somehow, this individual ego with so little knowledge, so little experience, so little existence, comes to feel that I know everything. Now, you see, there are 2 points in this. One thing is, we should not have arrogance that I know everything. Second thing is, actually I know everything because I am the self. And therefore, if you get the feeling that I know everything, please understand that it is not of this ego. The ego doesn't know everything, but as the self, I know everything. Because I am that self. I am everything. Obviously, I will know everything. So, if you get the feeling I know everything at the level of jiva, understand that you are getting an arrogance, pride, and therefore give it up. And at the same time, turn your attention to the feeling that, how am I getting this feeling that I know everything? I want to exist everywhere. At all times, I want to be there. How? That is because you are that. I am of that nature. So this I know everything, if jiva says this, it is not real, it is pride, it is false ego that I know everything. But I need to understand that it is not at the level of jiva. I have to raise myself and understand that I am the self and therefore I know everything. Why? Because I am everything and I am of the nature of consciousness. Obviously I know myself and therefore I know everything. Both things please understand. At the level of jiva to say I know everything is arrogance. You know little bit and you think you know everything. That is at the level of jiva. But actually at the level of self, I know everything. For the individual ego to have this feeling I know everything is not possible. Kutaha siddhyeta? How can it be true? Jiva, that individual ego itself is momentary. How can it know everything? It cannot know everything. And therefore, I am not the jiva who is limited. I am not the jiva who is momentary. I am not part of this world which is momentary. I am the self which is eternal. That's what he says in the next verse. Let us read verse number 294. Aham padarthastvahamaadi nityam sushuptavapi bhava darshanat brute hyajo nitya iti shruti svayam tadpratyagatma sadasadvilakṣanaḥ. Aham padarthastvahamaadi nityam sushuptavapi bhava darshanat brute hyajo nitya iti shruti svayam tatpratyagatma sadasadvilakṣanaḥ. Aham padartha. Now so far you understood yourself to be ego. Now you come to the real meaning of aham. When it is said, I know everything, who is that I? Is it the individual I or the supreme I? Which I are we talking about? Small I or a big I? Now Shankaracharya says it is not the small I which can know everything. Why? Because the small I itself is momentary. It exists only for some time. How can it know everything? It is the big I. Aham padartha tu means indeed, but aham padartha, the real I. Padartha, pada means word, artha means meaning. The real meaning of that I, the word aham, who is that? That supreme self is what? Aham adi sakshi. It is the witness of aham. What? Aham padartha is the witness of aham. What? Vedji? Not clear. The self is witness of the ego also. Just as the Sakshi is witness of the world, just as the Sakshi is witness of the body and senses and pranas and mind and intellect, the Sakshi is also witness of the Jiva. And therefore, Nityam, it is eternal. ego is kshanika, momentary. Self is eternal, nitya. Can you see how Shankaracharya is beautifully contrasting? That the individual ego, the perceived individuality is kshanika, is momentary. But the real self, which is the witness of this momentary existing reality, momentary existing ego, individuality, it is the witness of this individuality. That witness is eternal. So, aham padartha, the self, aham adi sakshi, is the witness of even the ignorance, nityam, and is eternal. Sushuptau api bhava darshanat. You see, even in the deep sleep where there is no object, there are no objects, self is still there. Therefore, it is eternal. It is always there. And this is not just what I am saying. Brute, Shrutihi swayam brute. The Shruti itself, herself, the Vedas themselves, Upanishads are calling this what? Ajaha nityaha. He, indeed, that Brahman, that Supreme Self is called as Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purāṇah. Nahanyate hanyamane shairi. Kathopanishad Shruti. Ajaha nityaha. Right? Brute. Shruti says that it is Aja, unborn, Nitya, eternal. That self, tadbrahmāhamiti, that inner self, sadasat vilakshana, which is distinct, vilakshana from sat and asat, from gross and subtle, that pratyagatma, that inner self, I am, and not this individual ego. So the individual ego is limited, is momentary. The Supreme Self is unlimited, eternal, and at the same time, witness of the ego. So, I am not the ego which is being witnessed. I am the actual witness. I am that self which is seeing everything. Okay. Where are we coming from? Ego feels that I know everything. Jiva, individual, feels I know everything. So he thinks that I am the witness of the whole world. But who is the witness of the whole world? Self, which is also the witness of the Jiva. And who is that self? That self is me. You understand? Think of it like this. Suppose you are in a supermarket. Big mall is there. You have not gone there to purchase anything. You are just there, watching everything, witness. But remember, you are individual, you are limited, you cannot witness everything. There is a CCTV camera who is witnessing the whole supermarket and is also witnessing you witnessing the whole supermarket. CCTV camera means behind that CCTV camera there is somebody sitting who is witnessing everything. Now the Shruti is telling us, you are not the individual who is seeing, who is witnessing everything. You are the self, the person sitting behind that CCTV camera who is seeing the world and who is also seeing the individual. I am not the world, I am not the individual who is seeing the world, but I am the self who is seeing the individual seeing the world. So when it says, I know everything, aham sarvam janami, I know everything, that I is not the jiva I, is not the individual ego I, it is the self I, which is the real knower, which is the real witness, K and W capital. Are you understanding? That I am. Okay. One more point we will say about this verse and then we will stop. Okay. You see, something Shankaracharya says here, sushuptau api bhava darshanat. Even in the deep sleep, sushuptau, even in the deep sleep, it is experienced. But sometimes when we when we have this experience of deep sleep, do we experience self in the deep sleep? We don't. I mean, we don't realize that we are experiencing anything in deep sleep. Why it happens? Because, see, there is a concept. What is the concept? Do you see light? Veggie. Yeah, I see light. Actually, we cannot see light unless that light is obstructed by some object. Carefully understand this point. Light we cannot see. When that light is obstructed by some object, then we see the object and then we realize that there is light. How do you know? Yeah, I will tell you. In the night, do you see sunlight? No. In the night, we don't see sunlight. So when you look in the sky, is sun there or not there? If sun is there, no, somewhere it is there. Is the light passing through the vacuum space or not? Yes, it is. But do we see it? No. Where do we see it? When there is object like moon, then that sun's light falls on that object, we see the object also and we see light also. But in between the sun and the moon, light is there, but we don't see it. Just think of it. Moon light is actually sunlight only. Yes or no? Sunlight only. Now when sunlight has to reach moonlight, it has to travel or no? Do we see that light which is going from sun to the moon? No. Why? Because we can't perceive light. We can perceive light only when it falls on some object. Therefore we see the stars. Do the stars have their own light? No, it is also reflected light only. Then again between the sun and the stars, why we can't see? Because we can't perceive light. In the same way, in the deep sleep state where there are no objects, self is there but is not seen, is not experienced. It is there. You cannot say sun is not there. Sun is there. Sunlight is there. But it is not seen because we are incapable of seeing the light without the object that obstructs that light. In the same way, in deep sleep state, self is there. Atman is there, but it is not experienced. It is not felt. Why? Because there are no objects. In waking and dream, there are objects. Therefore, I immediately experience it. I experience the objects also and I experience the self also. Just as in the night sky, light is there, sunlight is there, but we don't see. Only when there is a moon, we see the moon also and we see the sunlight reflected by the moon also as moonlight. Very interesting concept. So in deep sleep, what happens? The objects are not there. And therefore, I don't experience, or should I say, I don't recognize my experience of the self. It is there, the self is there, I don't recognize it. Okay, but the self is there. And therefore, nityam, it is eternal. At no point of time the self is not there. It is always there. That self which is witness of the entire world and which is witness of even the ego, that self I am and not the ego. That is the point Shankaracharya is making here. Okay? Some more explanation of this individuality. We will see it in the next session. Alright. Next year. Next Sunday is next year, no? We will see it. Chalo. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.